This video is brought to you by
Cool green clothing coming straight up out of that DMV. You know what it is. This that Baltimore designer right here. Come on now, come and show some love and show some support. Go online right now, coolgreenclothing.com, and make your purchase. Oh yeah, by the way, if you ain't cool and getting the green, you're in the way, and that's just basic.
What's going on, YouTube fam? This your boy Tony 2 times, and we back with another episode of the Baltimore Way, man. Before I start, be sure to tap that like button. Definitely watch this video to the end to hear the full story and all the details in the case. For the day one fam, y'all already know it's all love. Thanks for tuning back into another episode. If you're new to the channel and you feeling the content, feel free to subscribe. Definitely hit the notification bell so you can be notified every time we drop a new video. Oh yeah, definitely share the channel with your peoples. Everybody is welcome. Let's get right into the story. When a relationship has ran its course for whatever reasons, sometimes it can be hard for people to let go. When you spend time getting to know a person, telling them intimate details about your life, and you two decide to navigate this world together, even if it's for a short period of time, if the love was real, those feelings just don't disappear. While some individuals can say goodbye, it's over, and be perfectly fine with never seeing their ex again, others hold on to what once was. Over time, most people heal, especially if they have no contact with the other party, because out of sight is out of mind. But if you and your ex ran in the same circles, hung in the same places, that healing process can be prolonged. For some, they might feel like, oh, this is just a break. We'll be back together in no time. But then, one day you look on social media and see what you thought was your forever person hugged up with somebody else. That's when them thoughts come into play. Was this person really solid? Did they love me for real? How did they move on so fast? As we get older, most of us learn how to control our emotions a little better. But at a young age, a breakup can be detrimental. And seeing the love of your life move on can trigger feelings you might not even thought you still had. And on this episode of the Baltimore Way, we'll be discussing the case of a man's run-in with his ex-girlfriend and her new boyfriend that turned fatal. All the way back in 2016, a 21-year-old man named Quincy Wayman was navigating life in Baltimore. Quincy was described as being a good young man with a big heart who loved his family, being a sole caretaker for his mother who was diagnosed with MS. The young man had big dreams of one day being able to use his talents to take care of his peoples. Quincy was a standout football player. He attended Woodlawn High School and played for other teams as well. But by 2016, his school days were over. Now in the real world, he was trying to find himself. Of course, this led to relationships with young women. One young lady in particular caught Quincy's attention. For the sake of this story, we will call her Toya. As Quincy and Toya linked up, their connection with each other grew pretty fast, and it was clear the young man had feelings for the young lady. But being that young is really hit and miss when you are in a relationship, and the couple would eventually split up. Quincy was hurt, but he knew he had to keep pushing and be there for his mother. He also knew the dangers of the city. He would write in a journal about how wicked the streets could be. And as the young man wrote, he was happy to have a mother and stepfather who kept him on a straight path. And as long as he did right, he knew he was going to heaven. He felt that way because that's what his mother taught him after all these years. It seemed the young man was trying to build his faith. On May 3rd, 2016, Quincy woke up and told his mother he would be back. He was running to the shopping center on Ricerstown Road. When the young man got there, he walked to the Home Depot. Somewhere in the mix, he saw Toya, but to his surprise, she wasn't alone. She was with another man, 22-year-old Emmett Pullman. Toya had moved on, and Emmett was her new boyfriend. As the couple were walking through the store, Quincy began to get mad, seeing his ex-girlfriend seeming so interested in another man. When Toya separated from Emmett for a minute to go to the restroom, Quincy saw this as an opportunity to confront the young lady. He walked in behind her. As the conversation got louder, this caused Emmett to also walk in. Now in a crowded store, all three individuals were having an argument in the bathroom. As store employees heard the commotion, two of them came in and let the trio know they needed to leave the store right away. Once they got in the parking lot, Emmett picked up a rock and threatened Quincy with it before the employees stopped the altercation, telling the men they needed to go their separate ways. Toya and Emmett walked to a nearby apartment complex, and Quincy stayed at the store. About an hour would go by as the young man tried to calm himself down by calling his mother. While on the phone, Toya and Emmett came back to the plaza. After a brief exchange of words, shots went off, and people in the parking lot panicked. As witnesses saw a man fall to the ground, they called BPD, who responded to the scene to see a young man suffering from a gunshot wound to the back and a young lady crying hysterically. When police asked the woman, "Do you know this man?" she stated, "Yeah, that's my ex-boyfriend Quincy." Quincy was rushed to Sinai Hospital, but unfortunately, he wouldn't survive his injuries. Back on the scene, the two Home Depot employees explained the situation to police. They stated it seemed under control because they split the couple and Quincy up, but eventually they all got back in the parking lot, and that's when they seen the man that matched the description of Emmett run after the shots went off. Other people said they seen what they thought was a gun being tucked in the man's waistband, but Emmett was long gone. They took Toya to the station for questioning. At first, she denied knowing the man's name, who she was with, and told police they went to the apartment complex behind the shopping center for about an hour, but then they decided to head back to the store. She claimed once they got in the parking lot, Quincy saw them and hit the man she was with in the head with a brick, stating he was jealous because he was her ex-boyfriend and she was walking with somebody else. She claimed Quincy then took off, and now that the pressure was on, she gave Emmett's name, stating that's when he shot Quincy in the back and ran. As Quincy's family got the news, they were devastated, especially his mother, who was on the phone with him at the time of the incident. She stated she heard a pop, then she heard the young man yell out before the phone dropped. She called his name multiple times, but no response. A few weeks would go by before Emmett was located and arrested in Cecil County and was brought back to the city. He was charged with first-degree hit and handgun violations. As the case made its way to trial, the state witnesses included the Home Depot employees and Toya. The two employees explained the argument in the bathroom as a domestic dispute and claimed they tried their best to handle the situation. When Toya got on the stand and was asked why did she lie about knowing Emmett, she stated because she was scared at first, before then giving her full testimony. With witnesses including his girlfriend, it was all over for Emmett. The young man was found guilty of second-degree hit and using a handgun in commission of a crime. He was sentenced to 30 years for the shooting and a consecutive 20 years for the weapon. In total, 50 years in prison. Rest in peace to Quincy. I send my prayers and condolences to his family. Toya stated he hit Emmett with a brick and then ran off. I'm not sure if that was the case, or did Emmett go to the apartment after the first argument, get a gun, and think to himself, yeah, I'm going back to hit yo. But that 5-minute decision cost him 50 years, and Quincy let his feelings get the best of him by even confronting Toya in the first place. I'm sure he didn't think it would cost him his life though. Letting go can be hard, but if somebody is done with you, hold your head and chin up. It's billions of people in the world. If Quincy would have looked hard enough in that same shopping center, I'm sure he probably would have found somebody decent that same day. Y'all let me know in the comments. Have you ever felt this strongly about an ex or had somebody confront you about dealing with their ex? And if so, what was the outcome? Yeah, man, rest in peace that young man. Crazy story. But I ain't gonna talk too much more about this one. Y'all let me know what y'all think in the comments. I appreciate you if you made it to the end. This is another episode of the Baltimore Way. This your boy Tony 2 times. Love, fam. I'm out.